Welcome to Electrify Expo. We are here in Chicago. We are at the EV Reality Check booth. We are talking throughout the day with industry experts. My name is Pedro Chavez. I am with FutureMotiv, and I am the Director of Engineering, and I am here today with Eric. Eric, go ahead and give yourself a quick introduction.
All right. Thank you very much, Pedro. Pleasure being here. Thank you very much to GreenCars.com and Electrify Expo. This is very exciting. My name is Eric Broughton. I am the CEO of OK2 Charge. We provide access control and monetization of EV chargers all throughout the US, Canada, and Mexico. And we bring monetization and we manage them. So we take EV charging stations that would normally not be green, as far as monetarily, and make them green. So that's what we do.
Okay, so when you say access point, right, explain to the customers that are out here listening to us today, what exactly does access point mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll start with the origin story. I'm a big Marvel fan. So we'll start with our origin story. We have, myself and the co-founders, have another business that does some access control, like door locks, thermostats for the vacation industry. There's a high net worth client in Hilton Head, and he puts in his EV charging station. It's outside, and he rents his place out, and he's gone for 2 months. It's his second home.
Wow.
And he starts to realize my electric bill keeps on going up and up and up. What the heck's going on? I'm not even home. Realizes that the local Uber driver is charging his car while he's not home.
Great.
And he's thinking, how can I manage this to reduce my EV charging, my electric costs? And so we came up with a solution for putting access control. So connected to the property management system so we know who is staying, how long, and we turn the charger on and off. That was initially, and so that the right people are okay to charge.
Ah, I see. Okay to charge. Got it.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody who, let's say, owns a rental home, right, like you said, and rents that out seasonally, that would be a perfect example for one of your customers, right?
That's where we began. So we began as a software platform for EV charging stations at rental properties. We integrate with, say, Vrbo, Airbnb, and others. So we know how long people are staying, when they're staying, and it's kind of like when you rent or pay for a hot tub or a swimming pool to turn on to heat. We can turn on the EV stations and we make it monetizable, because what happens is a lot of people put in these charging stations, they don't know how to monetize it. So we make that manageable. But it's interesting in rentals, because that's our biggest growing market right now, is the apartment world. So in apartments, you stay, let's say there's 200 units in the building, and they thought they're being green, and they put in 4 chargers. Okay. And that sounds great, until you have no access control, and there's 8 EVs, and there's a line. And again, the local Uber driver, that's the enemy of this story. They're charging their car, and they're not a resident of the property. They're pulling down your electricity, and they're taking up a spot that belongs to a resident, and we manage that.
Ah, okay. So not just Airbnb, but also apartment complexes and other things. Okay, so I'm going to ask you an interesting question here.
Absolutely.
So let's say I own an EV, right? And I have a charger, but I'm going on vacation and I know that one of my neighbors nearby might have a charger or might have an EV, but he doesn't have a charger. Can I set that up so that I can then allow him access to my charger?
Absolutely. Our software is flexible enough. If you have an open network charger, something like ABB, Siemens, Zorova, Wallbox, any of these chargers that are out there that are open and allow that, we do something, we'll mail you a QR code, just like you have your menu at a restaurant. You put your QR code, we put a sticker on there, and we plug behind. There's an open charge point protocol that you might be familiar with. Charging stations that are open, they have this API network framework called OCPP. We plug in through that, and we can manage those chargers. But what's really nice about our software, because we designed it for rentals like yourself, short-term rentals, vacation homes, resorts. Margaritaville is one of our clients.
Okay.
So you're going to stay at Margaritaville for a week. Westin, so we have some Westin hotels in our network.
Okay.
We have some resorts in Mexico. So you scan the QR code, pops up a mobile responsive web page on your phone. You punch in your email address. That's when you can tie your credit card to it. And back to your question about, let's say your neighbor, you want to let them charge. You get that decal on there, you're going to charge your neighbor. And the best part is you can say your neighbor can charge for free, 25 cents kilowatt hour, 50 cents, charge by the day, you name it, we can make it happen.
Perfect. Okay, so somebody that actually wants to allow access to their charger can then make money from that.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I am gonna go do that right now. So, let's say for example, a hotel. Okay.
Yes.
So that seems to be my biggest thing, right? Because I travel quite a bit. So I go to a hotel. Sometimes those things are turned off entirely manually, and the worker doesn't even know how to turn it back on.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So something like access point, okay to charge, would be great. So
Absolutely.
You do already have customers that are hotels. How do you expand that? Where can people go and get more information on this to expand to, say, some of their rental properties?
Absolutely. So, first go to www.ok2charge.com, letter O, letter K, number 2, charge.com. So that's first and foremost, and you can work with us, reach out to our team. We're hardware agnostic. So the best part is, let's say you have those 4 chargers and they're not turned on. Another question is, why did they turn them off? One thing is, they started to realize that they didn't have control, was adding value, they're losing electricity. I'll take it a little bit different. We have a client in Los Angeles that we just picked up. They installed 36 chargers to be green for their residents. They discovered that they were losing $4,000 per month in electricity costs. Yeah. Some residents, some Uber, but maybe they're Uber residents. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
But they didn't know how to manage this and recover that $4,000, and that's not being green, right? That's just going in the red. So what we did is we put those decals on each charger, put our software on each charger. Now we ensure the residents are paying for the electricity they use, the property's recovering it, and it's up to them if they want to make some extra money, but at minimum, they're breaking even. Now back to the hotel thing, something very important is to have a networked smart charger. Okay, so we'll work with these smart chargers. We know the minute they go offline. We can send a text message to your electrician or your local staff instantly saying, hey, this charger has an issue. But here's something I found, and this is something that we know from the software side, 82% of our issues can be resolved remotely.
Wow, okay, so that's
82%.
great. They don't even have to have somebody go and check the thing out.
Exactly.
Wow, okay. So definitely a huge benefit to somebody who, say, owns a commercial property or something, and they want to get out there and make some extra money and entice some EV owners to come stay at their property, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so now, totally a little bit off the subject here. What do you drive?
I drive a BMW i5 M60, so it's yeah, I know, sorry. I'm not flexing too much, but you asked, so I'll throw it out there. It was not a pre-loaded question, but I originally started driving a Prius about 10 years ago, the hybrid, and I was one of those hyper milers, total nerd. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna ease into the stoplight and everything.
Okay.
And then I went to the ICE, the internal combustion engine, for a while. And then I bought a Tesla, and it worked great. I loved my Tesla. Got into an accident. Somebody pulled in front of me. It was EV on EV crime.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. They pulled right out in front. We crunched. Well, it was fascinating. Even though I was kind of dizzy and out of it, and I looked at the road, not one bit of fluid on the road. It was all plastic.
Hey, okay, so that's a great thing that you bring up, right? One of the things that I hear a lot when I'm talking to people that don't have EVs is, oh, how safe is this? Is this going to be another Pinto issue where, you get into an accident and boom, it goes up in flames?
Right.
So from your experience, what happened?
Oh, so the car did amazingly well. The Tesla, it crunched. I could show you pictures. It did the crumple zone beautifully. The frunk. The frunk
was no longer frunked?
It was no longer. The frunk was next to my driving wheel, basically. But the car performed beautifully. I was okay, and I had some things that I had to come back from, but the car performed great. And now I moved into the BMW, and I love that. Love the vehicle. And my wife drives a hybrid BMW. So there was an interesting gentleman that was up here with this EV hover device, the arm.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to him, and I said, this is perfect. This is what I need, because I'm in my garage pulling my cable from car to car to car. This thing is a swivel arm. I'm going to buy one of those. That's great.
That's great. We're already connecting people.
I love
Look at that.
This is a great event.
All right. So the BMW. So what do you see as being something that is holding the industry back from adoption of EVs?
Yeah, so we're still at the innovator portion, right? You look at the bell curve of the innovator's dilemma and the innovator opportunity. We're about 1.8% of cars in the United States on the road are electric vehicles right now, right? So we're roughly around there. So we're on our way. Once you hit that 2.5%, you're past the innovators. So we're getting to that point. Part of it is price. Heaven forbid that the U.S. market gets the Chinese vehicles, these BYDs. It's going to be lights out. I'm talking to my friends in Mexico, my friends in Portugal and Spain. The Chinese vehicles are everywhere. They're low cost and they're dominating. So in a way, we have a little opportunity, some great groups here to catch up. And I think the next part is it just takes a while for cars to turn over. And I think there's a little bit of that fear and incentives. So that's a part of it. But it's also that range anxiety. Batteries are getting longer. And part of it as well is this access control. I charge at home. I'm very fortunate. That's why I focus on EV charging in other areas like apartment communities and rental homes. So that's more available at these opportunities, and you're going to see more and more of them. And once we hit that 2.5%, that early innovator, that early starts going up to about the next 12.5%, that's where you're going to see it accelerate. And then once we hit that tipping point, probably around 2030, 2035, that's when we're going to see majority.
Okay, so with that bell curve, right, a lot of people don't understand what crossing the chasm means. So that's what you're talking about, where we have to get a certain percentage of adoption of EVs in order for it to be completely tipped over,
Yes.
where now it's just regular people are buying EVs, not people like me that work in the industry and
Right.
just wanted an EV just because I worked on them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's key. Yeah, what we're seeing there is that, again, it's the access to the charging infrastructure. There's a little bit of that fear, to your point, but you look around these beautiful vehicles, you can't tell. I mean, you wouldn't know if this was ICE or not ICE. These are just gorgeous vehicles. They drive 300 miles. And I'll talk about my wife's vehicle. She has the hybrid, so she charges for 30 miles. She charges her vehicle up. Her work is 5 miles away. She
Perfect.
She puts a tank of gas once a quarter. Every 3 months she adds gas. My car I charge up. I don't have any issues. You know, this is my 5th year driving an EV, mostly around Chicago back and forth. It's outstanding, amazing vehicle.
Perfect. So you bring up a good point, right? So people that work close by their home, right? So I have a brother who works fairly close to home, and he has a hybrid. He's got a Camry that he just bought hybrid, and he can't stop talking about how great it is and how little fuel he's actually spending.
Exactly.
So that's perfect. And that's an electrification product. It's not a full battery electric vehicle,
That's
but
right.
it's still an electrification product.
Yes. And I think you hit something, you talked about the workplace. So we're also working with workplace clients, and I'm seeing that happen as well. So again, somebody thinks they're being green, they're working with ComEd, they put in their 2 chargers. My wife works at a hospital. There's 2 chargers in that hospital. Maybe the doctor that comes in at 3 in the morning plugs in his Tesla, you know, that type of thing. But what's happening is that there's such a line waiting for it, so now they start charging for it. Well, now what we've done as well, we have a couple clients that have these workforce. We do reservations, so you can reserve a spot for your car. But the nice thing is, if you build this structure successfully, you put in place your EV charging infrastructure, maybe 2 chargers, then you get 4, then you get 8. But here's where we come in. We believe there's too many unsustainable businesses in the sustainable environment. So the important thing is, so I'll say it again, too many unsustainable businesses in the sustainable environment. And that is because they put in these quote unquote green, but they don't charge for it, they don't recover. It's not exactly fair and equitable to the ICE drivers, the combustion engine drivers. So what you do is you just make just enough to cover your electricity, make a little more to pay for the chargers. Maybe what we're seeing a lot of our clients get maybe an 18-month to 24-month ROI. And now that they get those paid off, they can put in 4 more chargers or work with ComEd or other different groups and put in more and more. And here's what we're seeing, whether it's hotels, apartments, or even workplaces. Once you build them, they will come. You know?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things, right? So I worked for a company that was, I believe my one-way drive was 86 miles or so.
Oh, yeah.
One way. I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And my wife will tell you how horrible it was. But I drove a hybrid because, and we're talking, this is back in early 2014, 2013 timeframe, before EVs were a big deal and before infrastructure had actually caught up. So I drove a hybrid, but I was still able to charge at my workplace. So I could have at that point purchased a Tesla or some other battery electric vehicle that could have made it there, charged, and then made it back home.
That's exactly right. And what a benefit that is. You're able to drive to work, and then if you were kind of like me, there's a hyper miler, you're pausing. But here's what people forget about EVs or don't know as well. Like, we're in Chicago right now. You know, one of my friends said, I was complaining about how bad the traffic was because it was stop and go. He said, I-90, it's the cheapest place to park in all of Chicago.
Yes, we had that same saying. So I'm from Southern California, right? We had that same saying in Southern California.
Brutal.
The 405 is the biggest parking lot in the world.
Absolutely. Actually, California is a great example. So think about all the people stop and go in California. You have so many EVs, and now you can actually see the mountains in LA because of less smog. And
Yes,
what
absolutely.
an opportunity we've done to do this opportunity through EVs, through hybrids, and such.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second, right? Because I see people out here walking around, they're looking at all these great, wonderful cars. But one of the things is, as you're driving along, okay, I got stuck in traffic. I was at another expo here a couple weeks back, and I live in Michigan. I drive here, do the expo, go back to Michigan. I came, and there was a lot of traffic.
Yes.
And the guy next to me is sitting there going, God, I need to get through. I need gas.
Yes.
I didn't have that problem.
No.
Because as my car's sitting there, there's nothing idling. Nothing is happening.
Exactly.
I'm not burning fuel as I'm sitting there waiting for the guard to let us through.
Yes. There's no idling for your EV. It only pulls from that battery. Now you have a little AC, little other things, but guess what? You're also doing that with a gasoline engine. But you're actually at your most efficient when you're stuck in traffic, when it's stop and go. Because the efficiency. And I'm an electrical engineer. I love.
Same.
Are you?
Same.
Okay,
Yes,
look
I'm
at
an
this.
EE as
All
well.
right. Yeah. And there you go. And so you get to see how efficient these vehicles can be stuck in traffic. Everybody that lives in a city should absolutely have an EV. And it's actually true cost per mile because you're only using your power when you're traveling those miles. When you're using a gasoline vehicle, you actually see city driving. I mean, that's part of their EPA efficiency is
Right, and that's why their EPA rating is so low in the city, right?
That's
because
right.
it's just sitting there idling, burning fuel.
Yes.
You don't do that in an EV.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
All right, so let's wrap this up a little bit here.
All right.
So last time, tell everybody about what OK to Charge is and who you are.
So if you're out there and you have EV charging stations, something we didn't even talk about, dealerships. I'm going to talk to my friends at GreenCars.com.
Yes.
We actually are managing these model dealerships. And because we have access control and monetization, we can ensure that only, let's say, their service technicians can use these chargers. We can restrict that. We're hardware agnostic. We'll work with ABB, Zerova, Wallbox, you name it, Siemens. They're all out there. And we do Autel. We work with these charging stations. We put in our software. And something we didn't even get to, I have too many features. I need to dial it back. We also plug into property management systems like Oracle Hospitality for these big hotels, Guesty, Airbnb, you name it. So we're managing these and having access, or even resident or tenant management if you're commercial real estate or office. We can restrict it or restrict those dollars. So OK2Charge.com, access control, monetization, control your products, and let's stop going in the red. Let's start going in the green.
All right, great. Eric, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us. We're here at Electrify Expo. This is the EV Reality Check. If you have any questions, if you want to know more about EVs, come by, talk to us. Eric, thank you so much.
Thank you.